Okay, so this question 6 is about express in the form y equal to a x minus h square plus k, and hence sketch the graph of the following. So we need to do completing the square. Okay, so we need to do completing the square before we do the graph sketching. So let's take a look how we do it. So A. Of course, completing the square is necessary here because at the end, you will get the stationary point. Okay, so we start with completing the square straight away. So when you do completing the square, you have to make sure there is no number in front of x square. So if there is any, you have to factorize that. So if there is no number, then you can just start the first step, which is adding b over 2 square and minus with b over 2 square. So the b that I mean is this one. This is the b. b is minus 4. So now you see how we do it. I write back y equal to, and I write back the first term, x squared. I write back the second term, minus 4x. Then I write plus b over 2. So which is minus 4 over 2. This is b over 2 square. Then minus with b over 2 square again. Then minus 5. Okay, so you can see I plus b over 2 square, then I minus b over 2 square. So I have plus and minus of b over 2 square. Okay, now let's continue. So once we have done b over 2 square, we add and minus there. So we have to separate them into two parts, where the first three terms, we call it the first part, and then the second part is the last two terms. The last two terms is the second part. So the first three terms, it is always a perfect square, so you can just factorize the quadratic into two same factors. So which means something like this: x squared minus 4x. Okay, so let's simplify everything in the bracket and then I square it. So minus 4 over 2 is minus 2. Minus 2, you square it. It means it is minus 2 multiplied with minus 2. You get positive 4. So you get positive 4 here. Minus 4 minus 5. Okay, so the first three terms, like what I said, it is always a perfect square. So we just need to factorize it by using manual way or by calculator or whichever way you like. For sure, at the end you'll get two same factors. So same answer, yes. So which means, let's say here, I factorize it. X times x is x squared. Then we look at the third term, which is this one, positive 4. So two numbers multiply, you must get positive 4. And when you add up the two numbers, you must get minus 4. So I'm going to use minus 2 and minus 2. Because when I use minus 2 and minus 2, I multiply them, I get positive 4. When I add them up, minus 2 plus minus 2, I will get negative 4, which is the middle term. Okay, so we will get the factors. Okay, let's double check in this way. We cross multiply. X times minus 2, I get minus 2x. X times minus 2 again, I get minus 2x. Then I get minus 4x when I add up. Okay, so the minus 4x is just the term in the middle. You have to make sure that happens here. So if that is the case, now we can take x minus 2 and x minus 2 as the two factors, the same factors. So x minus 2 and x minus 2, it means it is x minus 2 squared. So the first three terms become x minus 2 squared already. And for the last two terms, we just need to find out the values. Minus 4 minus 5, that is minus 9. Minus 9. Okay, so we have done completing the square. So of course, you have to know, after doing completing the square, we can find the stationary point or the turning point or the maximum minimum point. So the way to do it is, we just take everything in the bracket. X minus 2 equal to 0. Then we get x equal to 2. Okay, then we take this and we call it y equal to minus 9. So 2 minus 9, I put them in bracket. This is a minimum point because we can see our a. You see nothing here, that means your a is 1. Okay, your a is 1. Your a is 1, which is greater than 0, and hence the 2 minus 9 just now is a minimum point. So we get the stationary point now. Okay, now the next step is we find the x-intercept. So we let y equal to 0. Let y equal to 0. So 0 equal to x minus 2 squared minus 9. So we need to find the x. So I bring the minus 9 to the left, I get 9. I bring the square to the left, I get plus minus square root of 9, which is plus minus 3. Then I bring the minus 2 to the left, I get 2 plus minus 3. So imagine we have 2 plus 3, which is 5. And we also have 2 minus 3, which is negative 1. So we have 5 and negative 1. So these are the x-intercept. Okay, now we have to find the y-intercept. So I let x equal to 0. So when I let x equal to 0, of course I'm going to put here. Put 0 here, 0 square minus 4, 0, minus 5. So something like this. Y equal to 0 square minus 4, 0, minus 5. So y equal to 0 minus 0 minus 5. So end up with minus 5. So this is the y-intercept. So we have the x-intercept, we have the y-intercept, we have the minimum point. So let me circle up the information first. This is the minimum point, and these are the x-intercepts, and this is the y-intercept. Now we have to sketch the graph. Okay. So I start from the minimum point, which is 2 minus 9. And then, okay, it's a minimum point, so I can draw the smiling face. Y, x, 0. Okay, then I can label the y-intercept as negative 5, the x-intercept as minus 1 and 5. Okay, so that is the first question. Let's look at B then. So question B, y equal to x squared minus 6x. So we have to start with completing the square. Okay, so first, let's use back the same method. we need to check the coefficient of x squared, which is the number in front of x squared. So make sure it is 1. So for this case, yes, it is 1. No number here means it is 1. Okay, it is 1. So after that, we have minus 6x. Okay, so that is our b. A is 1, b is minus 6. So recognizing b is important here, because later we have to do b over 2 square and minus b over 2 square. So b is negative 6. Okay, now let's continue. Y equal to x squared minus 6x plus negative b over 2 square minus negative b over 2 square. Okay. So y equal to, okay, now what we can do is, again, the first 3 terms is going to be the perfect square. So the last 2 terms, but for this case we have only 1 term at the back. So the last term instead, you have to work out the values. Okay, now I simplify the first 3 terms. Yeah, so imagine minus 6 over 2 is minus 3. Minus 3, you square it, it is minus 3 times minus 3, which is positive 9. So we get positive 9 here, minus with 9. So y equal to, okay, now for the first 3 terms here, we can factorize it, and you will get 2 same factors. Okay, so imagine x squared minus 6x plus 9. So x times x is x squared. Then minus 3 times minus 3 is positive 9. So I take minus 3 and minus 3 because when I add up minus 3 and minus 3, I will get minus 6. It must same with the term in the middle. So x times minus 3, minus 3x. We can cross multiply to double confirm. X times minus 3 and minus 3x again. We add them up and get minus 6x. Okay, so we get minus 6x. That means it is the same with the term in the middle. And because of that, I can take x minus 3 and x minus 3 as my same factors. Okay, so I'll just write it down. X minus 3 and x minus 3, that is x minus 3 squared, and minus 9. Okay, so we call this the form after completing the square. So what we need to do now is we have to find out the stationary point. So I will let x minus 3 equal to 0, x equal to 3, y equal to minus 9. Then I will get 3 minus 9 as a minimum point. 3 minus 9 is a minimum point. So a equal to 1, which is more than 0, and hence it is minimum point. So of course, where is the a coming from? A is from here, in front of the bracket. If you see nothing here, that means it's 1. So a is 1, greater than 0, so hence minimum. Okay, now we find out the x-intercept. So I let y equal to 0. So 0 equal to x squared minus 6x. 0 equal to x minus 6. So I factorize, then I let each of them equal to 0. So I have this one, x equal to 0. Then I have this, x minus 6 equal to 0. So x equal to 0 or x equal to 6. So I have 0 and 6 as the X intercept. Okay, so let's find the Y-intercept now. So we let x equal to 0. Let x equal to 0 to find the Y-intercept. So what we need to do is we substitute 0 here and here. So we get y equal to 0 squared minus 6, 0. So y equal to 0. That is the Y-intercept. So this is called the Y-intercept. Okay. Now we can sketch the graph already. Okay, so let's do it here. So x and y. Okay, we start from the minimum point, 3 minus 9. Somewhere here, 3 minus 9. And then we have x-intercept 0 and 6. So when I draw the smiling face graph, I need to pass through 0, the origin. And the other side is 6. This side is 0. So we have 0 and 6. The y-intercept is 0. So the y-intercept is this point at the same time. So the x-intercept and the y-intercept is the same point. Okay, so that's the graph. So we label it first. Y equal to x squared minus 6x. Yeah. Okay, now let's look at question C. Y equal to x squared minus 8x plus 4. Okay, question C. X squared minus 8x plus 4. Okay. Now we start with completing the square. So we have to look at the b first. This is b. B is minus 8. Okay. Now we have to put the b over 2 square. X squared minus 8x plus b over 2 square minus b over 2 square plus 4. Okay, now once we have this form, okay, then what we can say here is we have to separate them into two parts. The first three terms as one part, the last two terms as the second part. So the first three terms, they always form a perfect square. So I've simplified them first. Minus 8 over 2 is minus 4. Minus 4, you square it, that is minus 4 times minus 4, we get 16. Minus 16 plus 4. Okay, so for the first three terms, we need to factorize them as they are always perfect square. So of course, you can work it out, or you can do straight away, or you can show the factor straight away if you can think of it. So x times x, x squared. This is the manual way to factorize. And then we have 16. We have 16 at the back. So you have to think of what multiply with what to get positive 16. And at the same time, when you add up the two numbers that multiply just now, you have to get minus 8. So I think of minus 4 and minus 4. Minus 4 and minus 4, when you multiply them, you get positive 16. Cross, cross. Minus 4x minus 4x. When you add them up, you get minus 8x. So we get x minus 4 square. And then the last two terms, minus 16 plus 4 is minus 12. That's minus 12. Okay, so we take everything in the bracket, let it equal to 0. X minus 4 equal to 0. We get x equal to 4. And then we take everything, so everything behind of the bracket, that is y. So y is negative 12. So we have 4 negative 12. 4 negative 12. This is the minimum point. Okay, so why this is minimum? Because the a is 1. So as you can see here, no number, that means 1 is there. A is 1, which is greater than 0. Greater than 0. So a is 1, a is greater than 0, and hence that is a minimum point. So now we look for the x-intercept. We let y equal to 0. So I'm going to use the form after completing the square, which is this form. Y is 0. X minus 4 square minus 12. So 12 equal to x minus 4 square. So square and bring the square to the left, then you get plus minus square root of 12. Then you bring the minus 4 to the left, you get 4 plus minus square root 12. 4 plus minus square root 4 times 3. 4 plus minus 2 square root 3. So we get two values for the x-intercept. The first one is 4 plus 2 sub 3. The second one is 4 minus 2 sub 3. So to make it convenient, we change both to decimal. 4 plus 2 sub 3, 7.46. The other one, 0.536. Okay, so we get the x-intercept. Then we just find the y-intercept. So we let x equal to 0. And imagine I substitute into this equation. Then I get y equal to 0 square minus 80 plus 4. I get y equal to 4. This is the y-intercept. Now we sketch the graph. Minimum point 4, negative 12. And then like this. Almost done already. Okay, now 0.536 and then 7.46, and then the y-intercept is 4. X. Okay, so we get the graph ready.